We're going to get serious for a minute because what we're going to talk about here is something that affects just about every facet of the world we live in simply because they have so much influence over the world we live in. We're going to be talking about something that is so deeply rooted in almost every facet of culture in America that it's almost unavoidable. I'm going to list some names for you, and every of the name I'm going to call for you have at one point or another said out loud with their own mouth that they have entertained entities in order to do the job that they have as entertainers. Now, again, not our words, theirs. They, by their own admission, have said to everyone else that they channel. Here are some names. I'm going to read it so I make sure I don't miss one. Beyonce, her moniker, Sasha Fierce. Denzel, when talking about trying to do his movies of channeling the ancestors.
Basically, what I did was got on my knees and sort of communicated with the spirits. And when I came out, I was in charge.
Powerful scene.
Powerful scene. I couldn't have acted that.
Rihanna, Katy Perry, Justin Bieber, Eminem, David Bowie, Lil Wayne, Michael B. Jordan, and Nicki Minaj. Now, Nicki Minaj is a very special one, and we're going to have to tackle her in a whole nother video because she didn't just want one, she wanted 19.
I asked him to leave, but he can't. He's here for a reason. People have brought him out. People conjured him up. Now he won't leave.
Can you please bless us with a verse?
Enter Vermin.
So she got 19 of them little things in her head. So we're going to talk about her on a whole different video. So stay tuned for that one because that one's going to be interesting. So we'll put her on the back burner. But those other names have all been on talk show hosting and saying to the host that, hey, whenever I'm doing a movie, and I have to do a really hard role, I have to sit there and meditate and channel things into me, bring certain spirits in so I can do the role properly. Now, Hollywood isn't the only place that does it. Music isn't the only place that does it. You find that everywhere now. But the two biggest influencers of both children and adults are indeed music and the movies. When you look at the movies, and now I'm going to spill some beans on myself. I have been in theater. I've done theater for a while when I was younger. And I've been on stage, and I know exactly what acting entails. I'm not the best of it, but at least I've done it before. And I've never brought myself to the point where I think I need to channel some other entity in order to do the role. I do understand what it takes. You're acting as though you're somebody else. You're reading a line, and you have to embody that line in some way, shape, and form. But I've never allowed myself to become one with this role to the point where I don't know who I am and where that person is. Now, when it comes to music, you have an entirely different kettle of fish. Because when you look at it, music, unlike movies, gets into your head whether you like it or not. It has the ability to affect you subliminally. We're going to talk about two ways this happens, especially because most of these names on here are musicians. And there's a reason for that. The reason is because they have to be able to sell themselves to an entity to bring that entity to you. They are the spokesperson for these entities, and they do their job explicitly well. Some of them to the tune of billions of dollars and millions of fans. And it seems like nobody really cares about whether or not they're entertaining devils when they're listening to these people. The other aspect of music is not just the sound, but the visual. Do you remember some months ago, Doja Cat did a video, and she dressed up exactly like a demon while singing to you about what demonic works would. We talked about Justin Timberlake dressing up and singing like a demon while telling you what a demon would do. Busta Rhymes doing the exact same thing. When you look at all these genres and what they talk about and how they do things, it spills over into even other aspects of life. Take, for instance, sports events. You now have athletes doing the exact same thing. Case in point, look at LeBron. The dust in the air and the ritualistic movements, all of it channeling. You may not want to admit this, but The truth of the matter is, we have been set before an entire legion of demons, both on screen and on air. And it is our biggest battle of our life to try and avoid it at every turn. You ever been driving down the street? Someone pulls up alongside you and you're just trying to enjoy the weather. Okay, it's nice, winter is over and it's summertime now and the sun's out. That's my kind of weather. And you're just driving down the street and you just want to be by yourself. And this dude pulls up next to you. And then you're hearing all this cars, and you're hearing it, and it you start feeling yourself. It either makes you cringe or you start to feel it. That's influence. And they know it. How about when you just look and look at the visual of some of these? They intrigue you with what? Visuals, colors, lights. It's intentional to make you join the channeling. Some months ago, we were talking to Corey and I in the backstage and figuring out, how do we approach a very, I would say, sensitive topic for some? And it was about the Christian world and rap. And we sat there and we discovered something almost simultaneously. You know what we discovered? We discovered that Christian rap and rap, there's no difference. The only real difference you can find is that one says the word Jesus and God in it and he loves you, and the other one talks about booty shaking and twerking. That's the only difference. What do they both do? Right? They both got the same half sagging pants, or they have the same hands over their crotch, or they have to have the same lingo. They identify with some kind of a culture that has to do with violence. They identify with some sort of culture that has to do with drug use. You don't find that kind of weird? It's not that weird when you look at it from the vein of channeling. You see, what happens is when you play in the devil's playground, you take something of a toy from the devil's playground back home with you. And that's exactly what the Christian artists have done. They go play in the devil's playground of rap and they come home thinking that they're coming back clean, but they brought all the tools and all of the efficacy of the devil with them. And they try to pass it off to us as though they're trying to bring you to the Spirit of God. It's a spirit. I'll give them that 100%. They're definitely bringing a spirit to you. But 90% of the time, it ain't God. The instant you use the devil's work to try and tell me that you're dealing with God, you're lying. It is no different than an actor getting on stage and telling you, I sit there and I meditate, and I try to bring all the ancestral spirits into me to know what it would have felt like to do this role.
I would pray to him. I would channel his energy. I would just ask to be around.
And then they turn around the very next week and say, praise God. I would like to know what kind of a God you're praising when you're welcoming his enemy into your body and then working with it as though it's yours. Then you come up with an alter ego name for this entity. Like, Beyonce likes to do, Sasha Fierce. And when she takes over, I can't do none of the stuff that Sasha Fierce can do because I'm just Beyonce.
How is Sasha Fierce different than I am? Well, I know, definitely wearing that bodysuit, I can never walk out here and do that. Usually when I hear the crowd, when I put on my stilettos, when, like, the moment right before when you're nervous and that other thing kind of takes over for you, and then Sasha Fierce appears in my posture and where I speak and everything is different.
So it's not you, it's something other. Michael B. Jordan said the same thing.
It's that weird, eerie feeling, but it was a good feeling. I don't think I could have done it without him being there.
Him, Oscar.
Oscar, yeah.
The energy of Oscar.
The energy of Oscar, his presence, for sure.
Yeah.
All of your favorite actors and actresses have a way of disembodying themselves and bringing something other to deal with the work that they want to influence you with. You see, that way what they can do is say, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. You see, it was that other thing it was my alter ego you listened to. How about David Bowie? Y'all remember David Bowie? When David Bowie came up with that androgynous figure, that not male, not woman figure that he came out with, and then he said, it's for a movie. Channeling. It is pervasive. It is everywhere. It is unavoidable if you put yourself in front of it. And if you're not girded with the actual Spirit of God in order to combat it. I'm not going to go too much into detail with the verse, but if you say that you're a God-fearing human being and you follow God, but you still tell me that the devil has rule over your life and can pull you out of his bosom whenever he wants, something tells me that you're not really dealing with God the way you're supposed to. Something tells me that you have him as a little bit of a hat that you take off and put on and take off and put on. He's not your skin. He's not the new body. Hence why these people can come to you and present to you another person, and you think of it as entertainment.
You're on the set, you have your chakras all open, you're allowing this character to use your body as a vessel. And so you have to learn how to flip the switch on and flip it off. Otherwise, it could drive you mad.
It's a lie. And it's the exact same thing that Eve fell for. Same thing, no different, same thing. And here we are today, dealing with the same tactics from the same old guy. And here we are thinking, that's different. You just don't understand. They're just making music because it's in their soul. Some people are just musicians.
I can get possessed by the devil when I'm performing. I headbanged so hard that I got concussion.
I'm not doubting that some people are musicians, but for who? That's the bigger question. For who are they musicians? And are you doing enough vetting in your spirit to know the difference? Because at the end of the day, you have to decide for yourself two things. Am I filled with the Spirit of God, or am I empty, leaving room for a legion to come in? And you'll know that answer simply by whether or not you defend any of the people on this list. It's that simple. If there is any little inference of you saying, well, maybe that one that I really like is not, maybe you got that wrong, or it's just a stage name. I mean, Justin Bieber, it's just a Shawty Main is just his rap name. It's not that bad. Okay. You know, most of the mistakes we make in life start off like this. In fact, I'm going to do a little object lesson here for you real quick. Sometimes we say, it's only that big. It's not a big mistake. It's just this. I'm only keeping this. I have to ask you, where did you get this off of this? You see my point? You had to handle this to get this. And now you're telling me, well, it's only and then eventually that runs out and you need a little bigger. And well, that's not. I'll just take the rest of it. It's not even as efficient as it was before, because remember, it's missing pieces now. The fact is, you handled it, you touched it, you dabbled in it, and now you're making excuses for doing just that. That's the stars that you're following. You have given them more credence and more power in your life than you've given the Spirit of God. Just by the mere hint of defense that you give them for doing something blatantly against the Spirit of God. All we are showing you is this. Discernment is needed. We're just bringing this to your attention. And you can decide for yourself if you want to encourage channeling in your own mind and heart via the format that they're giving you, or are you trying to live the kind of life that you're supposed to, one that's set apart, holy. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. But understand this, you don't know how long you have to live. So while you do have breath, let's hope that you make the right decision.